Hey folks, welcome back to the shop. Frank here, working on the Cub Cadet 4x4 articulated dump truck. And today I'm going to start working on the dump bed. Going to mock it up in plywood. I've got a couple pieces here of scrap 1/4 inch underlayment, and I'm going to cut the pieces out in plywood, kind of stitch them together, maybe use hot melt glue or something, and then see what it looks like on the back of the tractor before I make a decision for cutting the actual metal. And back to the table saw, let's cut up some plywood. I want to make sure I get parallel edges on there. All right, so that's the first one, which is basically 10 inches tall. This one is 12 inches tall. And of course my concern is, you know, space to the seat, but I think I like that better. It's actually, you know, quite a bit bigger than my first one. When you compare these two, quite a difference in size. So I'm going to go with this one. So instead of my normal CAD process, this is my pad process. Plywood aided design instead of cardboard aided design. Let that set up for a minute. Let me get some glue blocks for it. This just needs to hold together long enough to see what it looks like. I'm beginning to like the scale of this. I think this is about right. I think the other one would have been a little small. Ouch. Squeezed out, that's hot. The glue is like 300 or 400 degrees, pretty hot. All right, so we'll do a little walk around here just to see, you know, kind of what it looks like. So it's not quite as wide as the tire tread, as the track, I guess they call that, right? So that lets me get through my gates. I have a couple of 5-foot gates on the property, which really only give you about 4 feet of clearance to get through. And I think this is about the right distance clearance for the seat, for it to pivot, for the seat to pivot, because the seat's attached to the front half. And I think that's as big as I would want. Remember, the scale of this is to be a little bit diminutive. That is, you know, it's not a commercial piece of equipment. I don't have any earth moving projects that I need to use this for. So, I mean, being practical, that, you know, holds, this bed probably holds as much as a scoop on my front end loader. And I can run the front end loader faster than I can run this. So I could do a scoop and run it with the front end loader and dump it and then come back, you know. So this is not something that's going to be used, you know, for moving material, large scale moving of materials. But it would be great for moving bags of mulch or concrete, sackcrete, fertilizer, whatever, around the property. Pavers, be great for moving bricks and pavers and that sort of thing. So, all right, I think I like the size of this. The other one that we first started with was quite a bit smaller. Put that in there for comparison. All right, I'm happy with this. Here's my template. All right, need to work on the subframe. So it's a pretty tedious process mitering, trying to get the lengths the same and the angle correct. Got the angle correct. Now it's just the length. Brutus, what you doing? You just taking it easy in here? It's so hot outside. Let's see if we can find Butchie. Where did Butchie go? Where did Butchie go? Butchie! There he is. All right, it's midsummer. It's like the 1st of August. Well, tomorrow's the 1st of August, July 30 today. It is hot and humid. 93, 94 today and super humid. So, and I mean, you can see how hazy it is. Of course, some of that may be fogging on the lens. A little bit of it was. And it's, you know, it's dusk. It's after dinner. So, all right, you guys, come on, Brew, come on back in here. Stay in here now. It's cool in here. I was welding the last couple of tack welds, and of course, Butchie doesn't like that. Brew just hides. So, all right, you guys, you be my good boys. Yeah, what a good boy. What you doing, huh? You coming over here to check on me? You coming here to check on me? What you doing? Oh, there's Brutus. He heard Butchie was over here. He said, I'm not going to be left out. My good puppies, good boys. Okay. Let's get back on this job here. All right, the exact location of these bolts is not really important. So I had to take the wheel off to get to this stuff. All right, so that bolts this exterior frame, which is largely cosmetic at this point, considering the 1/4 inch stiffener inside. So bolt them both together, as I did on the front. So this will be the dump bed subframe. Let me tack it, and so it'll be removable because it's going to be welded to these straps that we bolted to the frame. So undoing those bolts, this frame will lift up. Remember, when you build something like this, you need to think about future maintenance. Some things you can weld together, other things that may need to come apart, you bolt together. All right, so thinking about future maintenance, keep that stuff in mind. A shield here, a panel, angled panel up maybe, which you often see on a commercial truck. That's the basic design. All right, folks, that wraps up this episode of Frank's Follies, the 4x4 dump truck beginning to take a little more of its final shape with the mock-up of the bed that we made today. So I'm happy about that. I kind of like the shape, And I think it's in scale with the tractor, and it certainly meet my needs for this build. So we'll come back next week cutting out the steel for the bed itself, tack that together, make some progress on that. And then also the next step after that is adding bracing and pivot points to the subframe for the hydraulics. So it won't be very complicated. And I think I have a cylinder. I got half a dozen cylinders left over from other jobs. So I think I have something I can use. I'll look around. So we'll come back next week working on all that stuff. Thanks for watching. We'll see you then.